You guys gotta understand, if you talk good about one thing, that doesn't mean we're talking bad about everything else.
I didn't say anything bad. I was just saying, like, man, it's a little harder. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's not hard for everybody. A prep is hard, no, regardless. But yeah, when you're working those blue collar jobs, man, construction, stevedores,
Mm.
like, you know what I mean? You're moving, and it's like there's no
Roofing,
rest.
guys.
For roofing, oh my
Yeah, I
god,
mean, and you were well, everything you said was 100% true.
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So many people made it that we were comparing jobs. No, we're talking about conditions of bodybuilding
So
and doing
funny.
certain types of jobs.
Yeah,
You can't sit there and tell me that it's harder to sit there and push a pencil on paper in bodybuilding than it is to do construction work in bodybuilding.
yeah, for
But
sure.
that doesn't mean we're talking bad about paper
Yeah,
pushers.
not
Everybody's got a
uh,
job that has this place, that has
yeah,
this necessity, and that's why
yeah,
it's there.
definitely.
I don't know. I mean, he never talked about ever doing it. Not even Arnold did it. Arnold used to work out for like 3 hours, dude. You know, I don't know, like some of the top pros that I've seen training and just
Milos and
never
John
seen
Meadows were
him.
the first two to really do it.
But yeah, Milos did fucking Slin. That was the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, that's
That's
why.
kind of where it
Yeah,
came from guys using Slin.
yeah.
Before Slin, nobody was needing it. I think it's a necessary. It's necessary when you're doing Slin. These guys are in there, they're burning their insulin levels, their sugar levels are dropping because they're you running Slin. So yeah, that I see that.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And if for you guys
But
who don't know what we're talking about intra workout carbohydrates, i.e., gummy bears, sour gummies, patches, or whatever you guys want to call it. Or maybe some of these people need an intra protein drink. So, intra workout. So, go ahead. As far as where it may have derived from, I absolutely agree that it may have came from when the guys were heavily using insulin,
Mhm. Yeah.
before they crash or what have you.
Oh
So
yeah.
you can go ahead and go
Yeah,
expand
I
and
mean, it was
elaborate
a
on that.
thing, and then a lot of guys would do it pre-workout. They would do insulin pre-workout.
Yeah,
So then by the time they got finished with the workout, then there was time to eat the carbs, and then they were starting to crash. But then that's when they were putting in the carbs, right? You run the higher risk of crashing during your workout when you do it like that. But a lot of guys did it that way. When I used to run it post-workout. It was safer that way. And then of course GH too. When you're running GH, your sugar levels, you can get that sugar crash too when you're running GH. So that also can cause you to get your blood sugar levels to actually dip. And that's why it was necessary, right? You use insulin and GH, depending on how much GH you're using though. Maintenance dose GH, 2 IUs, it's fine. You don't need it. But
hmm
when you start, 4 or 5, then yeah, you want to throw in insulin.
So I got a
What's up,
question about
buddy?
What's
that.
going on, man?
We got John here. He just came off the boat, off
Yeah,
his
right.
sailboat. We're back. He just got back in the harbor.
Marina
So
Del Rey or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
he was from.
Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's Island.
So anyway, what's up, Jed?
So no, this is just how my brain works. I don't think it makes sense to do the insulin directly post workout because your GLUT4 is already activated from working out, right? So if your meal after the shake is going to have carbs in it, why not do
Mhm.
it then and get that extra insulin spike from it then?
Right. Right. So the way I would do it is I would right after the workout, I would hit the slim and then I wouldn't eat right away. I would wait. It was usually about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then I would do all my stuff. I would
Okay.
do like the post shakes and all that stuff. So I would wait about half an hour, 45 minutes before I did it.
Okay.
And I was always using like Humalog, so
Well,
it was quick.
you still, even if you use Humalog, like it's good for the shake and usually the meal after
Yeah.
anyway. So you can
Yeah.
still do it for post workout and be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as and that's the thing, I would always wait because I wasn't always hungry right after workouts.
hmm
Like right after a
I'm
hard
not.
workout,
Yeah,
I
sweat
wasn't like
glands or
immediately I
Your
something.
wanted to eat. I
your
always needed like
adrenaline
a
is still
45-minute
going.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
go home, I take a shower, do all this stuff by that time. I was like, okay, now let's go. And then I could start doing my thing.
for sure.
And yeah, so that's kind of how I did it. I mean, that for me it
Out of
worked, but
curiosity, when you were doing insulin and GH, were you on a high enough amount of GH where you would like teeter between going hypoglycemic?
probably.
So that's the
Yeah.
only like concern as well too what a lot of people would go through with HGH, that they would go hypo,
Yeah.
especially on
Yeah.
the insulin, so they would have the quick instant
Right.
carbs. I
Right.
mean, there were better choices out there, not gummies or like whatever. I
I
get
mean,
it.
you could just
It
drink
gets into your
juice.
body a lot faster, but I guess it's the pleasure principle of
I think
eating the
so.
thing,
I
treating
just
yourself
I
to
just
that
drink
sugar
I just drink
shit.
orange juice or something,
Grape
honestly. I don't
juice.
know. It works like
Yeah.
fine.
I
Like it
mean,
gets you out of that and then,
yep.
put some carbs
Or
in.
even like I mean, I know a lot of the diabetics carry like the glucose tabs as well
Yeah,
too for that quick
they
rush of
have those.
sugar.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not carrying. I honestly think like social media kind of like ruined it. Like I was saying earlier before, I don't understand. Maybe you guys can answer why you guys use the intra workout carbs, especially if you're still eating like a dumpster fire and you still got lots of fat to burn. Are you taking it for energy? If that's the case, as far as means of energy, then you should be looking at other things like mic blends, data, um, injectable L-carnitine, other things for
Caffeine.
energy, caffeine, other
You
than,
remember? I remember Pop Tarts was like a thing for a while.
yeah,
Remember that
Pop-Tarts too
post
was a
workout
thing.
thing?
Yeah.
Pop Tart.
Post-workout though.
It was
Yeah.
post.
I'll
I was
only done
like,
that like at a show before I
freaking
pump
Pop
up or
Tart,
something.
Oh,
dude.
remember
Pop
that
Tart.
too? Oh, the anabolic window.
Yeah. Well,
Post-workout
that's.
anabolic.
I think it's still a
Oh my.
thing, though. I think it's still a thing. People still do it. So
You
yeah.
guys are getting fed wrong information. Go do more research, please.
Plus, like if you need carbs in the middle of your workout, like how long is your workout? Like it's like what, an hour?
Well,
You
I
just
always
train
say,
really hard.
are
Like I
you
mean,
are you a fucking triathlete? Like, what do
no,
you
So,
do?
like
like I
just
was
yeah,
saying
you need
too,
a gel pack.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Like
right?
Exactly. Right,
yeah,
right.
If you still got fat on your body to burn, like there should be no means for you using a intra workout
yeah.
carbohydrate unless you're on, insulin or like one of those
Right.
things.
Well, I got one for you. How
Okay.
about this? So, say, you have a competitor, whatever, they're gonna train, they're training, they're doing some people they want to do the, 2 hour workouts, right? Like not including cardio, right? Let's just say they come in 2 solid hours hitting it, and then they're gonna do another hour of cardio with maybe another, half an hour or so, or maybe even another hour of stretching. So they're in the gym for like 4 hours, like just
That's
full
insane.
workout.
Yeah,
Like those kind of people might think, oh, I'm gonna need this intra workout because I'm here for 4 hours.
yeah. No
Go
job, no
home.
kids, no girlfriend.
Okay, yeah, but
No
see,
job, no
this is
kids,
it.
no
This is
girlfriend.
the point. The point is right. Like, and I don't know why people think that 4 hour workouts are good if you're doing bodybuilding. But like I said, if you're a triathlete, maybe that's good. I don't know. I don't do
Yeah.
triathlons. But what is your thought on as far as like, again, I don't even think that you need those intro workouts, but what is your thought on as far as like the duration of a workout, including cardio? Like, do you have a time limit where you're like, that's enough?
No, I don't have a time limit, but I have a personal threshold where it's enough. If you get through your workout properly and you're kicking your ass, you're in the gym doing your reps and sets all the way till, you're giving it your 100%, you can't work out for 4 hours to include
Yeah, no
cardio.
ways.
I mean, even if you did, if this was a day spa and they had beds here and you could work out, then take a nap, then heat up your
Yeah.
food and eat, and then take another break before hitting the weights again, sure, I can understand like how you could be in here for 4 hours. I don't know if you guys ever been to Lifetime Fitness in Las Vegas. That place is a med spa. It's beautiful. You can really get lost in the place because there's so much to do. And
Mm.
like food court to eat at. Yoga room, spin room. There's fucking everything and anything under the sun. Like 7
Yeah.
tennis courts, full lap pools, a um jacuzzi, sauna, and like everything else everywhere in that place
Isn't
is
that like
huge.
$300 a month, something like that?
You gotta visit a Lifetime in Las
I
Vegas
think
if
I,
ever. It's
They
so
have them in
think
beautiful.
Texas and
Texas,
Summerlin.
Yeah,
Vegas.
Summerlin, and
Yeah,
then there's Green Valley as well too. But if I could understand at a place like that because it is like a med spa, sure. But if you're going back to back to back and just pounding out like an intro and then going back to pounding the weights and doing the cardio, the breakdown on your body is a little bit too much. I don't think you're working out hard enough
yeah,
that you can drag it out for that long.
Mhm.
yeah.
Personal opinion.
Oh, for sure. On like a chest day, like when I would hit chest super hard, like I mean, an hour and a half of chest, like you're just annihilating one body part. Like I mean, I don't know. Like to me, an hour and a half, that's sufficient at most for me. Yeah,
Even like, I don't know, like say you're like, okay, I'm gonna do leg day or something. You do
yeah,
some legs, and then you're like, okay, I want to make sure I want to hit everything. I'm gonna get glutes in, then let me go do my quads, hams, let me get some calves after that.
yeah.
Like all of that, right? Like that, even for me, if I was to do just a full lower body day, I mean, I don't know, like 2 hours for me would be like a
That's
long.
yeah, that's a
I
long
would I would
workout.
stretch out my
Yeah,
breaks in between sets
yeah,
to
for
get to
sure.
that time. But even then, I would just feel drained. You know
Yeah,
what I
no.
mean? Like I would feel physically like, okay, I'm done. I'm good. And I probably wouldn't want to do cardio after that.
Yeah, and
Like I
especially in
would want to
here,
just
like it's kind of
go.
hot too. You know what I mean? You want to be
Yeah.
in here for 4 hours, like going
I don't
super
know, man.
hard.
It's just
Like
it's
you're gonna need a
interesting.
lot of water and electrolytes.
Yeah. They and like because we talked about it before, like the effects that it has that you're putting the stress you're putting on your body, and it shows, right? It's that extreme cortisol and everything that your body starts to react to, and then you start actually not looking better. You
So
almost
when
start looking
does
softer.
like they
Yeah,
got to understand as well too, after a certain threshold, your body starts to degrade, right? And
Yeah.
then there's no return on investments. No matter how much more you try to push yourself, there's only so much breakdown you can do before what they don't understand is recovery is like more
bingo.
important or equally as important as
Very
your workout.
important.
So trying to break down muscle here for 4 hours, that's a little excessive. I myself might be guilty for staying in the gym for 4 hours, sure, because as some come like talking story with
Right.
people, or
That's
I might
different. Yeah.
be like just talking too damn much. That's
But not, yeah, not actually working out for
mm-mm.
4 hours straight. See, that's a
So
different thing.
yeah, but I know like a lot of bodybuilders, even like old school dudes, they would like, I mean, they didn't believe in overtraining like in Arnold's day, you know.
Right.
They would
Right.
train for like 4 hours, they said at Venice Beach, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
So it's
back in the
like,
day.
yeah, but I mean, do you feel like doing steroids allows your body to handle a little more than somebody who might be natural? You know what I
Yes.
mean? For sure, right? So I mean, maybe it's not as detrimental if you're on all kinds of juice and gear,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? If you overtrain a little
Mm,
bit, it might work better if you didn't overtrain, you know what I mean?
right.
But better results, but I feel like the steroids and the drugs, like, I mean, it allows you to kind of
I
go
think
past that threshold, you know, like I feel,
Absolutely.
you know,
I
yeah,
agree too.
I think
yeah,
with the yeah, because especially back in the 80s and
yeah,
even the 90s, like I think a lot of guys just love working out a
yeah,
lot. They really loved it, and so
yeah.
they
It was like a
really just
lifestyle.
stayed in the gym for 3 hours and did workouts.
Yeah,
And let's just face it. I mean, probably after the first hour, that's probably all they really needed. But
yeah.
they just kept
It was
going and
fun.
going and whatever, and they liked being in the gym. And I mean, did they get more results because they were there for 3 hours? I don't think
They were
so.
doing
They
it for the
probably got
culture.
everything they needed probably in the first
But it was
hour,
their place of
but
social
they wanted to
networking,
be there,
They
right? They
wanted to
wanted to
be there. Their
be
buddies were there. And then the next
made them feel
hour,
good.
another friend comes in. They're like, hey, long
Yeah,
time no see. And next thing you
yeah.
know, they're working out together, talking story. So,
And it was different back then too, because it was like a real spot
it
where
was a
guys would
social
meet up
thing.
Yeah,
and
it's like a cultural
socialize, and it
thing,
was
like
culture, and
bodybuilding
everybody was
culture.
there. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so yeah, and some guys I think took pride in that, like, oh man, I trained 3 hours today. Like
yeah,
it was almost like they were bragging. You're kind of like,
yeah.
oh, okay, well, right
But
on.
then, yeah, you
You
have
know,
guys on the other end of the spectrum like Dorian Yates, and he's like, I only train for 45 minutes and
yep.
I'm out of there.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah,
intensity, Mike Menser, so it's
yep.
like, I don't know, different strokes for different folks. I think there's multiple ways to the goal. It's just what
Mm,
works best for you, you know?
yeah.
If you don't have a lot of time, fuck, you got a girlfriend, you got a job. You're like, how you gonna spend
Kids,
kids?
dog.
How you gonna
Yeah.
spend 4 hours in the gym? Like, good luck. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know,
Your
man.
parent,
Some
your
people
girlfriend and your
maybe they
kids will be
don't do it
missing
every time,
you,
right? They do
pissed
it on that
off.
one day a week, right? That's
Yeah.
today's my big 4 hour day today. I don't
Yeah.
know. You know what I mean?
Big leg day.
Big. That's what I was gonna say. Big leg day. We're doing everything
Yeah.
from toes all the way up to my hip. Like
Yeah.
we're knocking it all out.
And like that brings me to like a question I have for you guys, since you guys are really experienced. But like, do you think when it comes to like a leg day, say like kind of off topic, but rest periods, kind of on topic though, like when I train with certain trainers, like, well, there is no rest period really. Like you're still trying to catch your breath from the previous set. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Do you feel like you're more beneficial from that, or like catching your breath, slowing your heart rate down, calming yourself down, and then going as hard
Well,
as you
what
know
is
what I
the
mean?
goal? Are you trying to get
Bodybuilding, like build
bodybuilding?
muscle.
People want to say,
Yeah,
okay, well, I think you should rest longer.
yeah, for sure. Right?
Yeah,
That's
I
what I'm
mean,
thinking.
I don't think you should rest 10 minutes. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
no,
not powerlifting, but you should rest enough to where you can
catch your
get
breath.
recovery, and then you can
Yeah.
push hard for the next set, right?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I feel like even when I was like doing steroids, like I would have trouble with that, even more so because like sometimes when you're taking caffeine, you're on all kind of shit, and your
Oh
heart
yeah,
rate's already going
heart rate's
high,
too high.
and you're fucking doing legs, and then like you're next, like, come on, next set, and you're like, oh my god, I didn't even catch my breath for my next one,
Mhm.
So yeah, I was kind of curious about that.
Yeah, yeah, because you want to be, to me, you want to be efficient, right, for
Yeah,
every set, right?
right. That's what I'm thinking.
If I'm tired, it's almost like, am I doing cardio or am I
Yeah,
bodybuilding? Because
for
if I
sure.
want to get my heart rate up crazy, I can just go on the treadmill and just run,
Sprint. Yeah,
and then like
for
whatever.
sure.
Like
Yeah,
my heart rate, I'm trying to keep it at a certain level and then get it back down so I can do my set. It's gonna go back up, bring it back down again, do my set. And
Yeah.
it doesn't if it's staying up into 70, 80 percentile the
Yeah.
whole time, like
Yeah.
I
For
mean,
sure.
yeah, that's hard training.
Maybe on those days you need a carb drink.
Right. I can say that's hard training, but it's more like I'm just
Doing
tired. I'm
cardio.
winded. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for
I'm
sure.
winded.
Yeah.
Not like it wasn't
Because I'm
probably
trained with
not
like
that hard to my
different
muscle.
people and different friends, and
Mhm.
yeah, I've just been like trying all kinds of stuff in
Yeah.
the past. So I was just kind of
Well,
curious.
there's guys who will do that too. There's some trainers who will do that. They'll make it seem like your workouts. Train with me, I'll show you. And then they just make you rest less. And then you're doing these quick breaks in between, and you're like, oh, that was a hard workout. And it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, because he only made you rest for 33
Yeah.
seconds in between
You
sets.
did all the same exercises you normally
It's
do.
the same thing. Yeah. He just made
Yeah.
you go faster. And then
For
you're
sure.
like, oh, he's a good trainer. Like,
Yeah.
okay. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a good trainer, I guess. But
He's good at not
he
letting
just
you rest.
made you go
Yeah,
faster, right?
exactly.
Like, so
Unless this trainer, as well, besides the cardio, burning more calories, if it's bodybuilding, I might think a little bit more indifferently that you do need the rest. But however, if you do got the fat to burn, sure, increase the
Yeah.
cardio. But
I
at
can
the
see
same
that.
time, like, what are your goals? Do you
yeah,
need the legs? Do you need the size on your quads? Like for
right.
me, I don't need the size on my quads or my hamstrings. I need to bring them down. So for me to go back to back in a shorter amount of rest periods kind of is a little bit more conducive for me because I don't
Beneficial.
need to
Yeah.
build.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
um
Yeah.
yeah.
Personal for like everybody's different, their body
Yeah.
parts, you know.
And
Yeah.
also too, if you're got heart problems or
Yeah.
blood problems, your blood lipid panels are high, you got high cholesterol and stuff like that, maybe sometimes you actually do need the rest.
Yeah. For sure. I
Mhm.
agree. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, there, your last week we did the podcast, and I guess you were talking about
Blue collar
construction
Oh yeah.
workers.
No, for
construction
sure.
workers,
Yeah.
built
Yeah.
from a different cloth. And we got a lot of good
Yeah.
comments,
So
and we
Jed
got
was
some
saying.
other comments on there. So Jed was talking about it.
They
So
were mostly positive. The only thing that caught me was a couple of guys were saying you shouldn't downplay other jobs. And I listened to the clip again. I don't see anywhere where we downplayed any other job.
Yeah. No.
You guys gotta understand if you talk good about one thing, that doesn't mean we're talking bad about everything else.
Yeah. For
It's
sure.
just
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think I
know.
saw that comment, and like yeah, I didn't say anything bad. I was just saying like, man, it's a little harder, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's not hard for everybody. A prep is hard no, regardless, but yeah, when you're working those blue collar jobs, man, construction, stevedores,
mm,
like you know what I mean, you're moving and it's like there's no
Roofing
rest.
guys.
Roofing, oh my
Yeah. I
God.
mean, you were everything you said was 100% true.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And we weren't some people made that we were comparing jobs. No, we're talking about conditions of bodybuilding
it's
and
so
doing
funny.
certain types of jobs.
Yeah.
You can't sit there and tell me that it's harder to sit there and push a pencil on paper in bodybuilding than it is do construction work in bodybuilding.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
that doesn't mean we're talking bad about paper
Yeah,
pushers.
not at
Everybody's got a
Yeah.
job that has this place that
yeah.
has this necessity, and that's why
Yeah,
it's there.
definitely.
So
Yeah, somebody who's a teacher. I mean, hey, there's a lot that requires to teach people, right?
Yeah.
Somebody, I don't know, somebody selling cars. I
A
don't
lot of
know. Hey,
mental exhaustion.
running out there, getting the keys for the car, running back into the office, going
But
back out. There's a lot
didn't
of
didn't Franco Colombo
there's all kinds of stuff. So
and Arnold Schwarzenegger, weren't they the flooring guys?
they did mason or something like
Yeah,
that. It was something
masonry, something
close.
like that, tile
well,
work
I
or
think
something.
Arnold did at the beginning, but then after
Yeah.
he,
Focused.
well, he
bodybuilding.
also, yeah, he didn't have to work anymore
Yeah, for sure.
because he had like real estate.
Yeah,
and
he
Yeah,
got
stuff.
into
definitely.
real estate early.
He got early, and then he got money pretty
Yeah.
Because wasn't
quick.
he a millionaire before he stopped bodybuilding?
I think
right?
so.
Yeah.
He was a millionaire in the 70s already.
Yeah, because
So,
I don't know if it's true, but one of my old bosses told me that Franco Colombo used to come down here sometimes to Hawaii.
oh no, they
And
used to. Arnold used to.
Yeah,
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 and
they
then
were
and
close with Mitts
Franco
before.
oh,
and
crazy,
Ed
yeah.
Corney.
So maybe
who's
he wasn't
running.
lying, but he was like, no, he's like, I worked a side job with Franco
Mhm.
Colombo before,
Yeah.
and I was like, you worked a side job with Franco Colombo? That's crazy.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, but he was not even into bodybuilding, but he just knew that he was a bodybuilder and that I was bodybuilding
Yeah.
at the time. So
That's cool.
he's like, oh, do you know who Franco Colombo is? It's like,
Yeah, they
I
used
do.
to come to Hawaii
Yeah.
back in the
Even Dorian
70s.
Yates, didn't he work construction? No, he worked some kind of
I don't know.
laborish type of job. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget.
Maybe
But
that's why
you
he
see, but
trained
he was
45
he
minutes.
started his gym, right? He
Yeah.
opened this gym, and that's why he was able to do what he was doing, right? Which was
Yeah.
just training, focusing on bodybuilding because he owned that gym
It's like
and he just ran that gym, and
it's like
that's what he
it was
did.
his gym. He ran that gym. He owned
Yep.
that gym, and he was the
Yep.
only person that trained at that gym. It's like,
I
and it's
don't know who's paying the bills, but hey,
yeah,
no.
you're like I've never seen
Yeah,
anybody else
I
in that
know.
gym
You never
except the
see. It
guy.
was a small gym,
It's a
but
temple gym.
I wish I had
Temple
gone
gym.
there. Yeah, Temple Gym.
Yeah, that'd have been
Pretty
cool.
badass though.
Yeah.
Pretty badass.
That'd have been super cool and nostalgic if it was still there.
Oh, I
like,
know.
it had all
They
the
moved
old
it, didn't they?
machines in it.
Something. Yeah, they
I
moved
think they
it.
moved it to another building.
Oh no way.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
Gone.
the basement is still there. I forget. There's something. I don't know what they put in there now, but it was
Yeah.
a basement. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I know, man. The UK, you guys need Dorian Yates
That was
Day,
a real dungeon.
right?
That was a real dungeon,
Yeah,
man.
that
Like you
was.
going down and
Yeah.
you're in there
Imagine
now.
that in the summertime, like that.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Shoot.
I saw when he did. He had trained Chris Cormier. This was towards the end of Chris's career,
Okay.
and Chris was doing a leg workout with him.
Oh,
'Cause
I seen
Dorian
that
was
one.
already retired, but
Yeah.
then did you see that one? And dude, Chris threw up so many times.
No
Like,
way.
oh, he was hammering him.
Crazy.
And
Like
Dorian
pushing him back in the
was,
seat. Nope.
yeah,
let's
and
go.
Dorian was like
Yeah.
taking it easy almost, but
Yeah.
like Dorian was like, let's go. Like, and Dorian, you can see Dorian was just like, like,
This ain't shit. You should
right.
see what I've
Yeah.
been through.
Like, yeah, it
what
was
Dorian
kind of,
put himself through.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Compared
And
to what
Chris
he's
was
doing
getting
to
his
Chris
ass
Cormier.
kicked.
Yeah.
Chris is getting his ass kicked.
And then he always had that trainer that was yelling at him in the British
Diesel.
accent.
Come on,
Come on,
Diesel."
Yates. Like
I forget his name. That guy was pretty jacked too, though.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys train hard, man. But that, again, that's a different level.
Yeah.
That's a different type of training. You don't really see that too much
So did
anymore.
Dorian Yates use Intra workout?
I don't think so. That's what I said. I don't think he did.
Did he
I
have
mean, he
gummy
was
bears?
training. I don't think
22
so.
minutes into the workout.
I don't
halfway
think he
through.
did any of that. It was a 45-minute workout,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Maybe an hour at most.
Yeah.
I don't think he did anything like that. I think he showed up,
Yeah.
had his freaking big top on, and
Yeah.
got pumped and took that shit off.
Because he got that from that training style from Mike Menser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was part of it. He kind of, he adjusted it a little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly like Mike Menser's
Yeah.
style. If you read some of Mike Menser's things, like which I have, it's interesting because like a lot of his things, man, it's like you're going, how can you get a workout like that? Like a lot of it
Yeah.
is just it's very short.
You just do one intense set.
Yeah.
Go
and
home.
but
you don't work
Yeah.
out for 3 days. You're
Yeah.
like, what? Like
yeah, but you really have to have the mindset for it, right? To
Yeah.
be able to really get to that.
To that
And
point where you're
push.
almost crashing your CNS.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And you need a training partner.
Yep.
Yeah. for
That's
sure.
the thing
You need a
about it. That's
spot.
why Dorian had a training partner
Yeah.
because he would do the force reps. That was
Yeah.
part of it.
Mhm.
Doing the negatives,
Yeah.
the
for
force
sure.
reps. That was the whole thing, right?
Yeah, because I remember Dorian Yates saying one time he was like, "A true to failure is when you fail on the negatives because the
Yeah.
positives always fail
Yes.
before the negatives. You can swing this up and then
Yeah.
like kind of control the negative on a curl, but it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, once you start failing in the negatives, that's true failure for sure.
If you watch the Blood and Guts video, like a lot of people have seen it, but watch it again and just really pay attention, you'll see that that's what's happening.
Yeah,
His partner is literally like he's coming down on the negatives and
Yeah.
he can't even hold it. His partner's having to like pull it for him
Yeah.
and get it while he's literally just it's dropping on him,
Yeah.
like that's the failure. Like he's gone to beyond failure, right?
It's kind of like the Mike Dragna style because when me and Kenny would train with Mike, like it would be the same thing. Like it'd be on the Smith machine, incline pressing, and he'd pull it up for us, and I'm already so taxed, and I would just go like right back
You
down
would
on my
drop.
chest, and I'm like, man, this guy must be like getting an upright row workout going on or something, dude. Like he's getting one big shoulder. Over
Yeah,
here,
Mike
you
Mike had shoulder issues.
Yeah,
No, he did. And it was that shoulder.
Yeah.
You just had
He
it
had-
operate on
He had to
you.
get operated on. I was
One
like,
always
because he do
squatted.
the 1 arm spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought that's not good for
Yeah,
that
and-
for that shoulder.
And not
No,
so
I
bad
always
with,
thought
like-
that.
Not so bad with
you
like
know?
maybe girls, but even
Yeah.
girls squat heavy. Like,
No,
but-
he'd put 3 plates on each side,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Girls be
just do
doing
one
on the
arm.
Smith like
Yep.
315
and
or
he's
whatever.
like pulling it up.
And he's doing the
It's like,
I
oh.
was like,
Yeah, that's why he'd be like, he'd train me, Kenny, and like sometimes Chad
Yeah.
or Tim, and he'd just be like sweaty after. I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh."
I don't think he does it as much anymore. I don't know. I have to see, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
But he had kind of that Mike Menser theory, kind of now that working out with him, the intense and like,
The
One
intensity.
true work set
yeah,
and then move on to your
Yeah, it
next
was like
instead of
warm up.
staying in here for 4 hours.
yeah, warm up,
Yeah.
kind of one mediocre, and then just heavy next. Like, you
Like
know
what
I
a lot
mean?
of people don't realize, if you're gonna do that one true like set work
Yep.
set, your feeler sets is all that it is. You feel the weight. Okay, can I increase
Yeah.
by 20%, 30%? And you're just feeling. You're not
That's what it
doing a
is.
whole workout into your working set.
Yes,
Right.
You're
for
wasting
sure.
time, and
Right.
Yeah.
I see it a lot of places I go to.
Yeah, I've been guilty of
Yeah.
that too. I've been
You're
on that
not
like 5 sets of every
right.
exercise, you pyramid up and then the last one's the heaviest one and like you get
Mhm.
like 6 reps,
By that
5
time, you
reps.
waste all that
I know.
energy when you could have
So
Done
like
much.
two
doubled.
different
Yes.
exercises and hit it from different angles and shit. Yeah, so
Exactly. And
yeah.
that's what Dorian did. He would
Yeah.
just do like what you're saying, he would just do, he'd grab it, he'd feel it, kind of get one set out to feel the weight and be like, okay, he might even do a second one like that.
Yeah.
And he'd feel it. And it wasn't very heavy, but he'd get that. And then, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Now it's got the muscle mind connection
For
going,
sure.
or we're zoned in on this exercise.
Yeah.
We're gonna go. So
Yeah.
that was the one set, right?
Yeah, and I think it was partly my coach when I was younger and like first getting into bodybuilding. Not that I was young when I got into bodybuilding, but yeah, we did a lot of sets,
Mm.
and like for each exercise, and it was like like I'd be doing like 30 sets in a workout.
For
You know
like
what I mean?
back or something,
Yeah,
right?
for
Yeah.
back or for chest, and like
Yeah.
I didn't even do any
Chest is
tricep,
crazy.
just all chest.
30 on chest is crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like Arnold day. That's like Arnold workout.
Yeah,
30 on
right.
chest.
But I feel like, I listen to Jay Cutler now, and he's not competing, but he's like, I go into the gym, I do 4 exercises, 4 sets. Even all my friends who train with like cuts, Kenny,
Yeah.
Chad,
Yeah, yeah.
I've trained with them. I don't know their program, but I'm doing what they're doing,
Mm.
and they're doing 3 sets. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They're doing,
Did you see the Jay Cutler and Phil Heath post on that they had just like I think it was last week? They're freaking still
yeah.
huge.
Jay
They're
Cutler's legs still look
Jay's
good.
still
amazing.
big.
Yeah, he looks
Oh.
good.
They
Yeah,
look great.
I know
Speaking
Phil's
of Jay
pretty big.
Cutler, yeah,
yeah. They're taking SARMs. I know.
they
I
are.
know they're on SARMs.
Well,
And
they're definitely
creatine.
doing TRT,
They're
but
doing
right.
creatine, guarantee.
Yeah, creatine and SARMs.
I mean, Phil still looks big. I was like, wow, you're
Yeah.
so big,
Yeah,
dude.
he does. He's still.
Yeah, no, for
I mean,
sure.
Jay looks good. I mean, Jay's like, he's like 50 something now.
What I am guilty of doing, like, for some people, is I have them, like, even if I tell them maybe 8 to 10, maybe 12, they don't understand what failure is. They just think, oh, coach said 12 reps,
Yeah,
easy
Right.
day, 12 reps.
yeah,
And sometimes I'm like, no, keep going, keep going. They're in
Yeah.
their 30s,
Yeah.
35, and then it starts to slow down, and
yeah.
then it's like, oh, this is hard. Fuck, this whole time you're fucking sandbagging. That's what you're doing, you assholes.
I've been
Cheating,
guilty.
sandbagging.
Well, I've had clients who literally would get upset when they couldn't finish the whole set. Like I would tell them, okay, we're shooting for like 12, right?
Yeah,
And they'd get to around 10. And then I'd have to spot them for like
Yeah.
the last two. That's fine.
yeah.
And they get mad and I go, what's going on?
No, that was good.
No, they would, and it's
Yeah.
it's usually the
Yeah,
girls,
yeah.
and they get upset, and I go, "What? How come you're mad?" And they're like, "Oh, because I couldn't get 12. I couldn't do 12. You were spotting me." Oh, and I'll be like, "You're
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Like,
that's-
no, like that was
That's
the
where you
goal.
wanna
Yeah,
be.
we're trying
Yeah.
to do this.
I wanted you. I gave you a number, but that's okay. Like you pushed past. You got 10, and you pushed past the 12.
Yeah,
Like that's a good set." And they're like,
exactly.
"Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Like, I'm just upset because you said 12 and I couldn't get 12." And I was like, I'm like, do you know what bodybuilding is?
Yeah,
Like,
I know, for sure.
bodybuilding is about
Yeah,
like literally failing every single time.
yeah,
Like,
for sure.
every time we go heavy on our sets, we're looking to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what bodybuilding
like if
is.
you're trying to get 12 and you kind of like start failing at like 8, and you
Yeah.
gotta get those last ones spotted, like
Yeah,
that's
a good
thing.
set.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
If
a
I
good
tell you to
set.
do,
Killed it.
12 and you fly out 12
Yeah.
and you rack it, I'm going to be like, keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah,
Like, okay, now we got to put weight on it.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's what I'm saying. They're sandbagging. If they can get more than 12, if you give them a 12, their threshold should be about 10.
Yeah.
They should be like, holy shit, I'm gonna get buried
It's,
if I don't push this weight.
Yeah,
it's so
for sure.
crazy.
I've sandbagged with Mike though before. I must say, I was like, man.
Oh, because you were getting tired.
I'm like dying.
Well,
like,
Mike
If it's
also.
unsafe,
Yeah.
sure. If it's
Well,
unsafe,
he also
sure.
didn't let you guys rest. So
Yeah.
that-
Or if you're on
we were
the
talking
verge of,
about the rest thing. He goes fast.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
It's
if
quick.
you have an injury, sure, sandbagging, but to some
Yeah.
degree, you still got to
Mm.
push yourself.
Yeah,
But
for sure, definitely.
Do you get annoyed that people come into a place where they're supposed to work hard, then they get mad when you make them work hard?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Or complain
yeah,
about
right.
it. Yeah, I know.
And that's the thing is like I feel like working out is one of those things. Like, I mean, if you aren't liking it, you probably haven't done it enough to get yourself to the point to enjoy it, you know? Because I
Mhm.
don't think when anybody first starts working out, unless it was like, you know, if it's forced upon them or for health reasons or it's a lifestyle change, some people they're like, oh man, I'm into bodybuilding. I really want to do this. And those are the people who enjoy working out right from the get-go. But it's like sometimes people need to like build up to that, you know what I mean? And I feel like they don't get past that first initial phase of like the working out and like,
Mm.
you know, oh, this is tough. Oh man, I gotta go here after work and do this with this trainer. And it's like I feel like, yeah, you just have to build up to the point where you love it. And like once you love it, then like you'll have no problem doing it. You
Or
know what I
once you
mean?
start seeing return on investment, you
Exactly.
start
That
seeing
too.
abs, you see veins, and you start getting all
Yeah. A
shredded, and
little
you're like, oh
stronger. Yeah.
yeah, I like this
The
stuff.
first
Yeah.
finally somebody at work's like, wow, man, you've been
That's the
training?
big
You're
one,
like, and you're
right?
like somebody,
Like
oh my God,
when
somebody
the
else noticed.
friend or
Yeah.
the coworker
Yeah.
or somebody you didn't see for a few months, they're like,
Yeah.
"What you been doing, dude?" And you're just
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
you're coming
"Oh,
like lean,
yeah,
a lot
it
leaner in the
works."
Yeah.
Like
face.
it
Exactly.
makes you motivated. You're like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna work out tonight. Shit, I'm gonna
For
go
sure.
back tonight."
Yeah.
Like,
And so for those
yeah.
people that aren't motivated and get mad, like Jed just said, like, you know, or like they don't want to do the work, it's like, yeah, you just have to like get to that point where you get that first compliment or you see some veins or like something. And then like, yeah, you got to learn to love it, man. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, the funny thing about that comment stuff, because he was talking about it, was like the internet is such a funny place, right? Like people, we were talking about this, people, they'll just look for reasons to bitch about something
For sure.
on the
Absolutely.
internet. They want to comment, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And then you could, I mean, man, you could be on there and you could have the most respectful comment, positive, and they'll find a way
Yeah,
to still be upset at you or to make it into
totally.
something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for
And
sure.
it's just like it's crazy to me. I'm like, the internet is funny. Like, who are these people? Like,
Yeah. It's
I'm
like
like,
they're
are
probably
they in like in real life? Like,
yeah,
do they talk like this? No,
yeah,
I highly doubt it.
yeah.
Or they don't have friends.
Or I feel like a lot of them are just like toxic, like in the comment section, and then they're toxic in their relationship. They're probably toxic at work. They're probably, you
Keyboard
Yeah,
know,
warriors.
yeah. It's like
yeah.
definitely a consistent thing
I might be
throughout
guilty of
life.
that. Like I'm one of those that scroll on Zillow at multi-million dollar homes. I mean, like, I don't like the kitchen in this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, if you're gonna spend $1 million, I mean, you might as well be freaking picky. I'm sorry, you know
Right.
what I
I'm
mean?
just saying, like it's a multi-million dollar house. I'm like, now that kitchen's too small. Oh, look at the pool.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Right. No, I've definitely gotten
Yeah.
into it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I see that. I mean, but I don't know. I just think it's interesting. Well, and then there's also like, and I saw this too. I see it on certain pages. You know, like there'll be certain political pages or different things, and you'll see. And I don't know if the people that are on those pages are deleting all the other comments, but you'll see all the people are swaying
Yeah,
for this one thing,
yeah,
right? They're agreeing with this side.
for sure.
And I'm like, I totally don't agree with this. And I'm
Yeah,
going through and I'm going, wow, everybody is agreeing with this thing. And I'm like, oh, I don't belong on this page. This
yeah,
Yeah.
isn't my people. Because
for
I
sure.
feel like if I comment something, even if it's not that bad, it's either gonna get deleted or it's gonna get attacked, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody's on that page is just like
Yeah,
they're on the same, like we're all about this, whatever it is, you know, whether it's
for
political
sure.
or anything,
Uh,
you'll see it. And there's like, I'm like, oh, all these people, there's no, and then sometimes they'll see somewhere it's a mixture. You
Yeah,
know, guys are going back and forth.
yeah, for
I
sure.
don't like this. Well, you know what? You're dumb. Da, da, da. And they see it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a mixture of
there's
I
opinions.
don't
mixed,
know.
yeah.
I mean, from what happened in 2020, you and I
Yeah,
are very
for
have our
sure.
opinions about everything that's going on. After a while, I stopped commenting, and it's just like either I like your
Mm,
post or
yeah.
I don't. I
Yeah,
agree or I don't, and I just keep scrolling because getting emotionally involved in that toxicity is such a waste
yeah,
of time.
and it's
And
draining.
yeah, it's draining. After a
Yeah,
while, it's kind of
People,
more
yeah.
fun to see people banter over it. And be like, oh, this is
Yeah.
yeah.
funny.
Well, the
And
comment
yeah,
section, right? The comment section
yeah.
is something
Instead of
else. Yeah.
getting involved
Yeah.
Yeah.
yourself,
And then
yeah.
honestly, like when you're like going at it with somebody in the comment section, like I mean,
You
it
did it a
can,
couple
yeah,
of times.
no, a bunch of times,
Oh,
man.
you
Like
did?
yeah,
You see,
dude,
he did. He
I've
did.
done it. Like I've
He
You
like
did.
stop. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
they're drawing goals
and
again.
I'm like, oh man, like before you know it, there's like 32, like you know what I mean,
Yeah.
comments, and
You
it's
and the
like just me
person.
and that person. And you're like, holy
Everyone
shit,
else is sitting there like,
yeah,
what the
just
hell?
watching, like, oh my
Yeah.
god, look at Johnny's fucking losing it, dude. Like
He's
you know what
losing
I mean?
his shit.
Yeah, but it's like I've been there, man. But it's like, yeah, I try not to do that anymore because yeah, it ruins your day, man. It just gets you in this
Over
negative
somebody you don't
mindset.
know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're like they're not even in front of you, and like they're behind the computer somewhere far away or
Yeah.
a cell
Who
phone,
knows?
and it's
Yeah.
like you're all mad, and you're like now you're kind of your girlfriend's like, "What's wrong? Is everything okay?" Like,
Yeah, you're
oh,
sitting there.
this person in the
You're
comment
sitting there
section was
pissed.
just got the best of me.
I know,
Like,
I know.
yeah,
Did you read the comments?
I know, right?
Like, I mean, it's pretty funny, right? When you think about it, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you literally, it's
yeah,
crazy though,
I
but
mean, that too,
but it
right?
can
We
do
we
that.
post up something and then somebody just like, oh, steroids.
Yeah,
And you're like,
yeah,
what the yes,
yeah,
that's the point.
that's
yeah,
why.
That's the point.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
yeah.
argue with you. And that person probably who commented probably has no physique at all. I
yeah.
mean,
I've had a bunch
very
of those.
sub.
That's why I had to make my comment section on my Instagram page like only people that I follow can comment on my page. Like
Oh,
anybody can follow
Oh, very
me,
okay.
smart. Very
but
good.
only
Oh,
people
Yeah.
so
who
you,
I follow
see,
can comment on my
I'm gonna
you,
page.
change my
So
shit
do you
too
know?
now.
So
I'm
wow.
gonna
even
change.
when I would be arguing with
Oh,
people,
okay.
yeah. So when I'd be arguing
Maybe
with
that's
people,
why some of those pages,
yeah,
I never really comment anyway on last, but maybe that's
that
why
could
there
be
was
it.
all only certain
Or
comments
maybe
because
the
yeah,
people who are in charge of social media like were constructing
they're
something
taking
to
some
kind of
stuff out.
make or not, they're just trying to like maybe there's people in a higher power that are trying to create confrontation. You know what I mean? Yeah, that could be it too.
Well, I
You know?
know, I hear that too. Let's put this out there and then let's get the masses to
Yeah,
fight over
let's
it,
have them
right?
all arguing over it. Yeah, but like yeah, no,
Yeah,
You
I've
know
yeah.
been
what's
there.
even crazier? All it needs is one comment from like a AI or a bot, and you're like, oh, this, and you
Yeah.
start.
Yeah, no, because I've
Yeah,
Mm.
like actually gotten into it in the comments section with people under like political posts, and then I get a message from them like, "Oh yeah, you're on steroids. I tried to comment under your picture, but you wouldn't let
They
me." And like,
sent you
yeah,
that
I'm
as a
like,
message?
"Okay, cool, or
Wow.
whatever, man. That's exactly why I made it that way." It's like, so you can't come on my page and
Wow, they really get
like
bent
down me
over
on
it.
something that has nothing to do with what we were arguing about in the comment section, you know?
just the fact
Yeah.
that you do steroids, they hate you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't do steroids anymore, but I
I love
mean,
the steroid thing though.
yeah,
It's always
but yeah, and
people's
they thought,
Steroids.
and they think they're getting you too, and they're really not, you know, because you're like, dude, like I'm not out there promoting it, but when people ask me, unless it's like a 16-year-old kid in high school, you know, like, oh, how do you get jacked like that? I'm not gonna be like steroids, you know, but like I'm gonna like, oh, eat healthy, train hard, bro. Like, you know, maybe get some creatine and protein powder, like, you know. But if
Creatine.
it's somebody who's like an adult who's, you know, like I'm just like honestly, like you want to look like this is what you have to do, and this is what I
okay.
do.
How many people do you think? How many people do you think that say that throw steroids out there actually work out?
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Their
no,
body is all
exactly.
Do they
sub. They live.
even work
Yeah,
out at
Yeah.
no,
all?
no.
So you shouldn't even say steroids then because you're not even lifting weights.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
just
for
like how
sure.
I
Like,
use the analogy of looking at multi-million-dollar homes when I don't have the finances to
to even get one right, and you're sitting there
exactly same thing.
critiquing it. Yeah, yeah,
Critiquing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the
One
thing
day though, one day.
One day,
because
One day.
I
people, I
hope
feel
so.
like when you bodybuild, it kind of like opens your whole world up to steroids, you know, because
Yeah.
that's a huge part of the sport. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So it becomes, you know, not so like crazy when people say the word steroids and like, you know, when people throw that steroid word around, they think of like Jose Canseco and like, you know, that whole steroid
Do
thing that
they?
The
happens.
Well, I
greatest
think.
era of
But people of
baseball
Well,
our
I was gonna
era,
say our
yeah,
era. I think the
younger,
younger ones they
yeah,
don't even know
they don't
about
even know who
Jose.
Jose Canseco is.
No,
But I mean,
I
like
don't think so.
that's what I think about. I think about Icarus, you know, on Netflix and like all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, the Barry
yeah,
Bonds and
but
all
people
them.
who have bodybuilded and have actually taken things like it's like I mean, most people are pretty honest about it, you know, like unless you're like Mike O'Hearn and like you're semi-famous and like you know what I mean, like
Mm.
I don't know, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like to me,
Michael
that's
Hearn's
very
always a topic.
obvious. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they
he's
always talk
for
about Mike.
I
he's
heard
All
it
the
was
people
duck
talk about him.
eggs.
yeah,
Duck eggs are
no way.
anabolic, right?
Yeah,
That's what Michael Hearn said.
he's like 100 years old and still jacked probably
He's
in the
my age.
future.
Thanks. Like he's my age. Like we're literally like same age. But yeah, he's I don't know. He's always been jacked. So who knows?
Yeah,
Who
right.
knows, man?
They said
Whatever.
from his early teens he was super jacked, just like how
Yeah.
what's his face from Australia was. What's his name? Short dude.
I mean, he
Lee
was
Priest,
strong.
Lee Priest.
Lee Priest from
He
like
was actually
16,
I seen old
14
footage
ish.
of him, yeah. And but his mom was a bodybuilder and
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
steroids, right? So I mean, he was exposed to all that at a very young age. But I mean, I don't know if I
When
believe
in the womb, he was.
I that's the thing is like a lot of these guys, they like I feel like I don't know, man. Lee Priest, I've heard him talk about his steroid cycles and like he's like, I didn't use that much stuff and I only used this and dude, I only took a little bit of
Well,
this and I'm like,
I knew
you know, like
I knew some guys who knew him.
were the
I knew
steroids
guys.
better back then or like I mean, because how could you I mean,
Well, okay, dude,
yeah,
we can talk about that.
he
I
packed
can tell you about
on
that stuff.
a lot of muscle. That's why
Well,
for just
one,
doing a little bit of steroids. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
the cycles that I heard, and I had one of my friends actually knew Lee. He
Yeah.
knew him pretty good, and he told me about a bunch of stuff that Lee was doing. But It wasn't anything crazy. Like the cycles were not anything
Yeah,
extreme to me.
for
I was like,
sure.
oh, okay, that's like normal cycles. Um, and what people don't, a lot of people don't understand is in the 90s, especially when you saw all those bodybuilders, all the big guys, Kevin Levrone, Flex, Dorian, all these
Yeah.
guys. Okay, what happened was the 90s,
Paul Dillette was big.
well, Dillette he was a genetic freak too. Um, but steroids,
Yeah.
But in the 90s, they made it illegal, right? They
Yeah.
made steroids illegal early 90s. After the Olympics, after 87 Olympics, I think it was, then they made it illegal. Congress came through, made a whole thing. So it became difficult to get steroids within the US. It became difficult to get it in the US. So a lot of people were going overseas, right? You had to get it from like Mexico, which there was a lot of, I mean, a lot of it was like vet stuff. It was like
Mm-hmm.
all this animal stuff that you were using, which was
Equipoise.
equipoise and whatever, injectable D-ball, whatever. But the quality wasn't that great.
Yeah.
And the doses, the milligrams were always lower. They weren't super high milligrams a lot of times. So you have to take a lot more.
Yeah.
Or you get it from like Europe, right?
Yeah.
But very, very expensive. And you have to get it through, custom stuff. So what a lot of people don't understand is what guys would do is when you got stuff, it was like you held on to it, and you were like, okay, this is my cycle for my next show. Like, because it wasn't like it was available everywhere. It
Yeah.
wasn't that easy. And there were certain things like you really had a hard time getting.
Yeah.
And when you got it, you're like, oh, I'm saving this for the show. Like, this
Yeah.
is my cycle. I have enough for 6 weeks,
Yeah.
And that's what it was, dude. And it wasn't like you could just keep unlimited supplies. It really wasn't like that in the 90s. Okay. What people don't understand is in the 80s, it was really available. Okay.
Yeah.
It was very available. You could go all over and get steroids because it wasn't illegal yet. You could go to a feed supply place, like even here on the island, they would sell bottles of testosterone in Nantate
Mm-hmm.
for $25. I remember.
And
It
it
was in
was
the
the
80s.
big vials. It wasn't the
Yeah.
10 milliliter vials. It
Oh
was
yeah.
the big
You
ones
could
for your
get different,
animals.
yeah, and you could get it, no prescription, nothing,
Mm-hmm.
because they were selling them. You
Get them for
you
your
say it's for your
chickens
chicken or
or
your
your
dog or
cows,
whatever. Yeah.
your
Yeah.
Whatever.
horses.
Yes. In the
Do people really
80s,
inject chickens and
Yes,
Yep.
chicken fighters.
Oh, wow.
the chicken fighters do
Crazy.
because it makes them aggressive, stronger.
Yeah.
But that's how the times changed from the 80s to the 90s. The 90s, it got really difficult to get
Yeah.
stuff, or you're spending a lot of money. And so
Or you're cooking it in
that's
your
why,
kitchen.
well, yeah, well, that's why guys, when you hear some of these cycles and you're going, why didn't you take more? Well, that's part of it, man, because it
Yeah.
wasn't available.
Available. Yep.
Yeah.
It was hard. So guys, they took what they needed.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And that's it. And you
Yeah.
know what? And honestly, if they took more, would they have been bigger and better? I really, who knows?
In
I don't
in
think so.
comparison from this era to the last, do you
Yeah.
think the quality of the products improved, same, worse?
I think that the quality back then was really good. I mean, if you got the stuff from Europe, especially the Mexican stuff, like I said, it was a lot of, veterinarian products. So, not that great. But European products, and then if you get American pharmaceutical American products, that's always good, no matter
Yeah.
what. You know what I mean?
Pfizer.
I think that there's a lot of stuff out now that some could be great and some could be complete crap.
Well, they do make
So
test kits readily available, so
yes,
you are able to test if it's really
yes,
Anavar, Primobolan, Tren, whatever it may be. So for you females out there who do want to dabble in such things, I would make sure and test your Anavar is really Anavar and not
yeah. We
Yeah.
found
something else.
Winstrol or
I
something.
found that
Yeah.
D-ball, yeah,
D-ball.
that they're putting D-ball in for
Mhm.
Anavar
Yeah,
because it's cheap.
it is
Yeah.
cheap.
So how do you take D-ball and be like, this is Anavar? Like, I mean, I've taken both, so I
Well,
know the feeling is a little
yeah.
different,
But
Well,
D-ball,
but
if you dose it at a women's dose, say 10
right
milligrams,
at a
Yeah.
5
will they
milligram,
know
10
the
milligram
difference?
dose,
They'll
not
feel the little bit more intensity, but
Yeah.
it's not like they're gonna be like, oh,
right,
yeah.
I feel like with
exactly. And
D-ball,
if
my
they're like
ankles are
dieting and
swollen.
stuff like that, they're staying tight. They may not notice it that much.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
because
just
But
they're already
notice it
pushing
in the voice.
definitely jacking them up
Yeah.
for sure.
in many different ways. It's
Yeah,
jacking them
right.
up.
I know.
It's like they got a hair right here.
Especially
in the
ones that,
voice.
ones are like, I'm break out all the time. I'm like, oh, you break out all the time.
Yeah.
Interesting. Like, that could be D-ball. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
From
Right.
Anavar.
Yeah.
I've even like seeing like
Breakouts.
coaches down here, you know what I mean? Where it's like, they coach a lot of competitors and you know that they're getting the gear for them. And it's like you look at all their competitors and you're like, man, all these guys got like pimples on their back and shit. I don't know if they
Mm.
just all have poor hygiene or like, or is it like something in the gear? Or is it like, is it just coincidental that this girl has like acne and then that other guy got acne and this guy got acne on their back? Like maybe they need a back scrubber. I don't know, something like that. You know what I mean? Because I feel like
Could be that they're overdosing. They're taking too much
Overdosing
shit.
and
Yeah.
shitty shit.
shitty stuff. Yeah, I
And
could see that.
that's a big
Mhm.
one though. If you're like I was saying, if the shit's not that
Because I've actually even like
clean.
taken stuff and like, I mean, I don't know if this has happened to you guys before, but I've taken stuff and like get like flu-like symptoms.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Mm,
Like your
mm,
arm gets
yeah.
fucking like red and hot.
Oh
And you're
yeah,
like,
I've had that
and
happen.
like you're
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? And you just start feeling
From what?
sick. Just
Just
like
testosterone.
testosterone. Yeah,
Well,
Oh, that
yeah,
is
was
bad.
that a high
yeah.
dose test?
It
Well,
was just
even at
like,
high dose test
Was it like a
intramuscular, you
no,
200?
shouldn't.
no.
No, because what happens is they put too much of
Oh,
the benzyl alcohol.
it was the test 400 that I had.
That's why.
Yeah,
Because a lot of times what they do is they put a ton of that benzyl alcohol in there to
yeah.
break
And
it
there's like
down,
3 different types of tests in there.
and
It's
it's
like a
thick.
sus.
Yeah,
It's thick, right?
yeah.
So it's because you can only. I mean, they've even said like
So it depends.
scientifically, it's like
It
what
depends on
300
what the.
milligrams.
It depends on what the oil that they use in it will
Yeah,
determine how
how
it
much
burns or
it can
not.
hold.
So
Yeah.
like a lot of people would choose MCT oil over grapeseed over like any other
I've heard, yeah, MCT
Sunflower.
because
oil
Yeah.
over grapeseed
so a
oil.
lot of people don't get that
Yeah.
effect, but it could be just a bad batch of somebody mixed in their tub.
You
Yeah, I
know
know.
something? When I would take certain brands of Tren, and I would be on certain like stuff you'd buy from GNC or over the
Yeah,
counter stuff, I would get that. It'd be a big red and it would just slowly work down my arm and
Mm.
dissipate, but for like a week, it would
yeah,
just be hot to the touch, fucked up.
yeah,
And I started noticing, I'm not going to call the supplement out because it's a good company. The supplement's good. I'm sure they didn't make it to mix with fucking steroids. So,
yeah, for sure.
but when I did both, the injection site would get all screwed up.
Mm.
I could
So
see that,
sometimes
man.
if you notice you're taking the same brand, and all of a sudden it does that. Look at some of the over the counter stuff you're taking
That makes
because
sense.
there's something that wasn't agreeing when I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I've had that happen to me though. Usually when I was doing like prop or something,
Yeah,
typically not enante and stuff. But I was never a huge fan of doing like 400 test 400, or
yeah.
whatever. I was like, I'm not into that because
I just liked it because then you just take like a half cc
well, I
twice a
know,
week,
but
and then you're
Yeah,
at
but it
400.
hurts.
It's like-
it hurts and it's thick. It's thick
Yeah,
and
it is thick.
it's like
Yeah,
I'll just take 2 cc's of the 200 and then I'm good. Like
yeah.
like
That
whatever.
makes more
Like
sense, I guess.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
for sure.
But you can get a bargain, right? You're like, ooh, it's the same price, 400, and it's the
Yeah,
same price as the 200 one, and
yeah.
but I'm getting
I
double.
can make
Like,
it last a little
yeah,
longer if I. Yeah, no,
I'm
I've
like,
done.
I don't know. That was never worth it.
Yeah,
I tried that one time. I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore.
yeah. It was actually the
So
test 400 that I had that
So
did that
every
to me.
time you pinned, it did that, or was it just a free
After that
one
first
free?
you
time,
didn't do it
I
again.
didn't. I just gave the
Smart,
bottle away to my friend.
smart.
I was like, "You want this? Like, it made me feel sick. I don't know if you want it." He's like, "Yeah, I'll take it."
Did he have problems with it?
No, he didn't. Yeah,
Some
Oh,
people
okay.
get test flu, I know, from injecting
Yep.
too much
yeah,
sometimes as well too.
yeah,
But like to get that redness, that red spot and stuff like that. Yeah, usually the carrier oils or it's a bad batch or something your
makes
Or
body
sense.
sometimes,
doesn't
yeah,
agree
you have
with.
to warm
Yeah,
it. Sometimes
yeah,
put it in like warm water, and then because sometimes it'll like crystallize a little bit. You can't really even see it.
Hmm.
It's very tiny crystals,
yeah,
and then you're putting it in there, right? And it's just hurting, and
yeah,
it's causing inflammation and
So
your
if it
body's
does another
stressed.
inflammation, another like again, then it is something that's wrong with it. Maybe it's
yeah,
old and it started to crystallize. Because
Yeah,
even if you put your syringe under the warm water to warm it up, or
yeah.
you did the um vial on the stove kind of
yeah,
thing,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna. You guys can go.
You never did that. I
No,
know.
you
I
guys
know
can
you
go
never
look
did
over
it.
that.
You saw that on the
I
video.
I did a lot of research
Blood
on
and guts.
You watched the
YouTube.
videos, yeah.
I watch YouTube videos. YouTube University taught me everything, guys.
Mel only does
That's it.
SARMs.
Creatine.
That's it.
And yeah, so it could have been a bad batch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's possible.
yeah.
Or
I was
your
kind of
body just
curious.
didn't agree with it. Sometimes as well too, like with the amount of hormones that you are injecting, like your body just was like, "Oh fuck, I don't like this."
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
kind of blows my mind on like the amount of stuff I used to take, and I mean, there's people that take the same amount of stuff that I used to take, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, now when you come off everything, like your brain recalibrates to like regular life again,
Hmm.
and then you start thinking back, and you're like, whoa, that was a lot of oil going into my butt cheek, you know?
It's very
You
much.
know, it was like it's crazy. And like even on Dorian Yates on Joe Rogan, I saw him and he was like saying like they pulled up those black and gray pictures of him looking
Yep.
grainy and
Yep.
hard and
It
like
was
he's in like
crazy.
some
Yeah.
fucking warehouse or some shit. And like they pulled him up and they put him up on the screen and Joe Rogan was like, what does that make you feel like when you look at that now?
Yeah.
And he was just like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
it trips him out, like looking at himself like that. He's like, man, that's fucking crazy. Like, I don't know, you know, like he's not even feeling it.
Well,
Yeah.
I got one for you. So, as you just said, you got off of everything, right? So you're
Yeah.
not taking nothing, right?
Not even
Not even TRT.
test,
Okay.
not even TRT.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. So, like, I'll ask Jed and I'll ask Mel both. Your thoughts on, okay, somebody who's competitive and taking steroids, now they stop, they just do TRT, they're doing it 200 mgs a week, whatever. Now, if that person say he got off of it completely, do you think that them doing 200 milligrams would it's still having a certain mental effect on them as compared to, say, if they got off completely, they would actually maybe get a different mental clarity because now they're off of everything?
I mean,
You know what I mean?
it
Like
happened to
a
me with,
different clarity,
yeah,
right? Because that's what
yeah,
you're saying, right?
yeah,
And a lot of people are still doing TRT, right? They're doing TRT. They're like,
yeah.
oh, I'm on TRT. I'm good now. I'm good now. I feel good. But if they were to get off TRT, try to get their levels to normal by not using anabolics anymore at all. Do you think over time they would have a different mental outlook and a different mental clarity than being on TRT? They would be almost a different person in a sense because now they're not on TRT at all. They're not taking anything anymore. And say they did get their tests up to a decent level, say
Yeah.
500, 600. It was acceptable.
You know,
What do you think about
As
that?
far as myself, if they were an avid user, got off, cleaned out, and were able to increase your testosterone naturally to a healthy level, somewhere in between 5 to 800 milligrams or nanograms per deciliter. I don't know how they measure it,
Yeah.
depends on where you go. Um, would their mental clarity be better or different? I I think so. But however, there's not very many people from a level of taking a copious amounts of
yeah.
steroids go from cleaning out completely, testing their levels. I don't know. Did you test your levels
When I
after?
went after I well, I kind of like knocked things out. So, you know, after my last show, what was I taking? I was taking tests, trend, masterone, EQ, Winstrol. I took a little bit of Halo. You know what I mean? So it's like I slowly pulled things out after the show. Like I immediately came off the Halo, immediately took the trend out and just stayed on like tests, masterone, and a
Yeah,
little bit of
so
EQ. Then I took the
slowly,
EQ
and
out,
as you
you
should,
know? Yeah.
you should titrate down like the same you titrate up using
Yeah,
gear.
for
But
sure.
my thing is, did you test your hormone levels when it was at its lowest,
Yeah.
when you're absolutely off of everything? What
Yep.
was your hormones at?
Like 140.
So what is it now?
Right now, the last time I checked, it was four. It was like four something.
Not very many people
Yeah,
can make a good
yeah.
recovery like that
and that's
on
Um,
nothing.
well,
and
I'm not.
that's
I'm not
still
taking
low.
nothing. I'm actually. Yeah, it's still
Test
low.
test
It's
boosters.
normal for a 40 to 50-year-old. I feel 400. That's what I think I've read.
No, it should be
But
more like
I feel like
7 to
it's low.
so,
800.
oh,
I feel
okay.
like it's low.
But I mean, I'm just taking a natural test booster
So
now.
even with a
But
natural test booster,
You're
with
still only at fours.
yeah,
but for anybody to have taken more than, if you tested more than 1500, because a lot of the tests here don't measure anything past
yeah,
1500 nanograms per deciliter. When you retest, when you're off of everything from 100 to 400, there's not very many people that could even make that much progress just
yeah,
staying on a test booster or even in clomiphene or some of the other
yeah.
stuff.
I mean, well, after coming off everything too, I did buy like $600 worth of HCG,
And that helps as
and
well
I
too.
was taking HCG, Clomid, and I did that for like maybe like
And then you wean off and
2 months.
titrate everything down. But like I'm
Yeah, for
saying, there's
sure.
not very many people who can
Yeah.
do that mentally.
Yeah, for
Being that
sure.
said as well too, like a lot of the guys, they will go through like really bad brain fog, lethargy, weight gain, and freaking
Lack of
estrogen
motivation.
rush,
And
Yeah,
even
lack of
like depression
motivation,
too,
yeah,
depression,
anxiety.
erectile dysfunction, like even all
yeah,
kinds of crazy stuff. So there's not too many people that can go through that and make a good recovery.
Mhm.
You obviously did it a
yeah,
better way than what some other people do it. Like, but
Yeah.
as far as having a different mindset, it takes a certain type of person to be able to be patient enough
yeah, for sure.
to
To get
withstand
through
the
that.
storm and get
Yeah.
Yeah,
through that,
and I think
and then work on being healthy
for
by just
sure.
using over-the-counter substances.
Yeah, for sure. Because I feel like yeah, I did I don't want to say damage, fuck, but like I don't want to think about that. But yeah, I've done so many things to my body with steroids and the bodybuilding that like I just dude, I'm taking like spirulina now. I have a greens powder, I got NAC, I got NAD, I got vitamin C, I got milk thistle, I
So,
got
okay.
I'm just
So,
trying to
for
like
instance, as well too, I have a friend. You know who you are if you do watch this podcast as well too. Um, in my highlight, my whatever you want to call it, in my peak, me and you know who Brad is. Me and Brad, we always talk about the stupid, crazy ass shit that we used to do,
yeah,
and then now how we kind of navigated towards um biohacking and upregulating mitochondrial function, eating properly, taking less is actually more
yeah,
now because you are upregulated. You're functioning on whether it be 8 or 12 cylinders, you're fully firing.
yeah,
So you don't need to take all of the other stuff. I mean, we can talk about like all of this other
Mhm.
spirulina,
yeah,
chlorella, mitochondrial function
yeah,
upregulating, stuff,
for sure.
so you don't really need all of the other heavy chemicals. But at the same time, me and Brad laugh a lot about it. Like, if we knew now, if we knew then what we knew now, imagine
Mm.
how much more ahead of the game we would have been.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, fully.
So, I mean, is steroids bad? No. If you're abusing it, absolutely. But
Yeah,
if there's a means for even having a little bit testosterone in your system so that you can be productive, so you do have the energy so that you still can function as a man. So
yeah,
there's not very many guys that can go from plus 1500 to 100 to 4.
yeah,
So,
for
like I'm
Mhm.
sure.
saying, takes a
That,
certain
and that's the
person.
thing. Like, what I
Yes.
mean, I guess that's a very subjective thing, right? Abuse. So it's like, I mean, now that I'm not taking anything, I'm looking back, I'm like, holy moly, taking 6 things, that's abusing steroids. But when you're in the zone and you're bodybuilding, that's normal. You know what I
I don't
mean?
think it's abusing.
Yeah.
That's like a prep. That's like a contest prep. That's not
Yeah.
abuse.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
abuse.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah. Right. But I mean, so
It's
that's
how
the,
much dose. I don't
it's
know
like, yeah, it's like
how
the
much you're
different,
taking, but
it's a different like mindset, I
yeah.
guess, and how you look at it and the perspective you have on it. You know what I mean? Because like when I was in the zone, like that was just normal.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
understand that you've done a lot. You've done a lot to your body and you just want to get your
Yeah.
blood right. And a lot of people who do use steroids don't look at that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
your lipids, whether or not you cause some sort of plaquing, hardening of your arteries or, uh enlarged heart and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah. For
understand
sure.
why you want to get better
Yeah.
and all, but that just comes with a matter of
Yeah.
time cleaning out and then,
For sure.
whether or not you want to get back on it. I mean, if it's a thing for you to say like, "Oh, I'm natural now," that's great.
No, it's not, that's not really, I
I
mean,
have a shirt for you.
I'm gonna,
But as far as being a like
All natty.
I'm also vegan.
Oh.
performance, as if you're doing it for optimizing your
Yeah.
health
Yeah.
as
Health.
a
That's all
person,
it's,
like a
yeah.
health, like when we had Ernie
Yeah.
inside of here, Ernie was talking about like
Oh.
the amounts of stuff that he used to do in
He
comparison to
was
just
huge.
TRT now, and
Yeah.
look how he looks amazing, and
Yeah.
all his
But he
thing
does
is
really low TRT. He
yeah,
was doing like 60 milligrams a
yeah.
week or something like that. It's
That's
like
super low,
very
but
low.
he still looks
Yeah.
great.
Oh, he still looks good.
Still
Yeah.
in shape.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
pulling sleds and stuff. That guy
Yeah.
is in
But
shape.
his testosterone level is super high for the
That's good.
small amount of
Yeah.
TRT that he is doing.
Yeah.
And he was even talking about how his estrogen level is complementary to his testosterone
Right.
level. And the doctors are kind of getting it wrong. If the doctor's telling you, oh, 60 nanograms per deciliter on estrogen or like whatever it is too high, but he feels good. It's not about it being too high and him
Yeah.
not feeling good. It's the adverse reactions that you get from the
Mm.
high estrogen.
Yeah, they're just looking at the paper and the
Yeah.
readings.
The numbers,
They're
yeah.
not
So
like,
that's
how do you feel, bro?
exactly. So, I mean, that's one thing too, as far as the paperwork parameters. If you don't know what you're reading or you don't understand it, then if your doctor is not a athletic type doctor,
Yeah.
then he's just going to be like, oh, you're in the red, or oh, we need to increase or decrease this. All he is looking for the parameter numbers. He's
Yeah.
not necessarily seeing everything else that's going on
Yeah.
in your blood.
When I took my blood test after I started kind of having anxiety about things, and I'm like, man, I'm taking so much stuff. I just want to like get healthy. My girlfriend wants to have a baby, but I'm taking all this
Mm.
shit, and there's no way I can have one right now.
Yeah.
Like I remember I took my blood work and I got my readings back, and the first person I texted was actually Mel. I don't know if you remember,
Hmm.
but my bun level was all fucked
Yeah, your
up. My
kidneys,
like
Oh,
my
his
kidneys were like
kidneys,
kind of
your
like
what
looking
was
yeah.
your
kind of rough.
GFR?
GFR was it like 64?
It was
That was because
64?
he worked
Wow.
out right before
I
he took
Oh.
his
did.
blood test,
Oh,
and
no
so
wonder.
his
That
his
morning
levels
too.
was all elevated.
No
Yeah.
And I asked
wonder.
him that as well
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah,
Okay.
so I started freaking out, but then like I mean, ever since then too, I just was like, I just want to try and be healthy, and I'm definitely going to do TRT as soon as I have a baby.
so
But
the
like
the other part of
I'm not against TRT or
hmm
steroids. I'm not bashing anybody who does steroids. Like, dude, like I've done steroids, but it's like when you're bodybuilding, you have to do steroids unless you just want to like go through 16 weeks of hell and lose.
yeah.
So it's like your choice. But yeah,
The natty guys are
that's
not
I'm
gonna
Did
like
you,
it.
I
as
don't
far
take
as
pride in being natural. It's just that I am natural, and it's the first time that I could say
it's
that in
pretty
like
cool
8
though,
years. So I'm
right?
like, it's kind of cool to
It's pretty
say. Like I'm
cool.
not like trying to brag
I get
about
it.
it, but it's like, oh wow, I'm not taking anything, and I feel
But at
okay.
the
My
same
body doesn't look the
time,
same, but
not taking TRT,
yeah,
does that mean that, I mean, did you do a sperm analysis or
I
whatever it
did.
is?
Yeah.
And what did
Mm.
it say as far as your strong swimmers or like ones that were like,
So basically, when I did my sperm analysis, it was already weird because you jerk off in a cup, and there's like you can hear the ladies talking outside the door about lunch and stuff, and you're like, what the fuck?
You're
And
in
then
a
you're on a couch, and you're like, how many people did this on this couch? But
Oh
yeah,
wow, interesting.
it was supposed to be like 20 million. I don't know what it's called, but it's just my sperm count for a natural guy is supposed to be at like 20 million, and mine was at 1,000. So
Oh
it was like
shit.
almost like, and then at first I was like, oh, 1,000 to 20,000, that's low, but like, I mean, it's still pretty good. And like, he's like, no, 20 million. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I'm at 1,000. Like, that's like nothing.
Wow.
That's almost like zero. You might as well just be
Yep.
zero.
Yep.
But then like I did a sperm analysis recently again. And after taking all that HCG, after taking the Clomid, sperm went right back up because I read this Dave Palumbo protocol. I actually got the protocol from Chris Knox. I
Mm.
don't know if I should even be saying that, but it's just a protocol to get your
Dropping
wife
names,
pregnant.
man.
I know. Shoot, man. Shit. Shout out
Oh,
to
you're
Chris.
good.
But yeah, he gave me Dave Palumbo's protocol for like having children, I guess,
Wow.
for
Okay.
bodybuilders. And actually like O's friend, this guy Jake, he's on Dark
Yep.
Sport, Jake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
actually
he was
messaged
here.
him and because
He's
he did the same thing and he has kids now.
yeah, he came on the
So
show.
anybody who's done that protocol, the Dave Palumbo protocol with the
Mm.
HCG and the Clomid and the dose,
Yeah.
it's a lot of HCG. Like your doctor is because Ian Ajimine was
yep,
taking HCG and it was a small amount, and then he heard how much I was taking, and he's like, "Oh, what?"
yep.
But I mean, it definitely did get my sperm back to normal.
Yeah, and
You
usually you
know?
do that 10,000 IUs like right away for the first 3 weeks, right? It's like a
Yeah,
freaking huge bolus amount
yeah.
for the first
Like you're going
month.
through bottles. That's why I bought
Yep,
$600 worth of
Oh
it.
wow.
I went
it's
through
a
it
lot.
fast
Oh
too.
wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. But I mean, I was so fucked up from all the years of bodybuilding. You know what I mean? As far as like my natural test,
So what is
my
your
sperm.
numbers at now?
I don't know the exact number, but it has to at least be 20 million because the lady at the sperm analysis place was like, "Oh, man, you're back to like normal baseline." So
Wow.
I didn't ask the numbers. I didn't see paperwork, but they just told me that, and they're like, "No, you're good to go. Now we just have to work on
If
what
you
you're
ever watch
going
the
on with your
Dave
girlfriend."
Palumbo thing about pregnancy
Yeah.
as well too, he says that HCG also helps them swim stronger.
And I think was it also HCG with HMB? Is that a thing?
HMG.
HMG. I bought only one bottle of the HMG because I was like, I don't know, it's a little extra. I'm just gonna do the HCG, but just that HCG,
Mm.
and then I just blasted through that one bottle of HMG real quick. But I guess like that's and then zinc.
Hmm.
You want to take that for like fullness of your sperm, so it like kind of creates more volume. So like yeah, so that's what I was told. So I mean, I was taking HCG, Clomid, and zinc.
Bigger loads.
Cream
Bigger
pie.
loads.
Yeah,
Yeah, cream
that's why when
pie.
people say he's like take
Bukkake.
ZMA, you're
Yep,
like, yeah,
CMA.
your
Yeah.
sperm
ZMA.
fucking your ejaculation amount is like
Bigger
it's bigger, and
amounts.
Yeah,
like
because
against the walls.
zinc, magnesium, and what does the A stand for?
The what?
The A
ZMA.
and the ZMA.
What is it? Zinc, magnesium, and
I,
something.
Acidophilus. I don't know, dude. It's made up.
Acidophilus. Acetate.
Yeah. Well, I just want to get Jed's opinion on that
What?
though, too, as far as what I had asked earlier
I
with
think
the
it just depends
mental.
on what your actual test levels are. I mean, for me, if I'm on TRT and I come off of it, it's going to be a mental decline for me
Oh, for
because
sure.
my test is low. But if somebody comes off and they're still like 500 or so, they'll be fine.
Well, I think what I'm really trying to find out is because we're using TRT to keep our levels normal, right?
Hmm.
And I guess so. Say my level is at, say I'm running TRT. My level's at 750. Let's just say, right? I'm just doing regular low TRT, 750. Hey, my number's good. Get off, whatever. It takes me, a year. Say after a year, my levels are 750. Just happen to be that guy, right? Okay. Hey, my levels are at 750, but I'm no longer doing any TRT. Am I going to feel the same way naturally at 750 as I did TRT 750? I think that's what
Oh,
I'm
Like if the
curious.
levels are still the same, but you take the
Yeah,
synthetic
that's
they're
out,
the
interesting.
same levels,
the
but
synthetic stuff comes out.
I'm no longer doing TRT. I just naturally am 750 now.
Okay.
Do I feel the same way? Or does that testosterone, that extra 100 or 200 milligrams a week, is that giving me some performance advantage and a different mental process, mental
I
thought?
think individual
Yeah.
differs as well too. So my brother had to get off of his TRT because he had some health problems. After he retested, it took him longer to get back to like a decent base. It's not
Mm,
very low, not very high either.
mm.
But as far as mental acuity and awareness and all of that other stuff, it came back. But he, as far as keeping the body fat off,
Yeah,
that's the one thing that he couldn't
I could
that
keep
see
off.
that
changed.
for
Yeah,
sure. Like that little
See, so
back fat right
so
here.
doing the TRT, I think there's an advantage
there is.
over being drug free as far as
Yeah.
like there's certain
Hmm.
I
things
mean, because
that it
there's a whole
helps.
list of like health when I researched like health, like in negative health effects, like, from having low
From
testosterone,
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
so I mean,
And I think we've been highly lied to about this whole testosterone
yeah,
treatment thing, especially for women who are pre, peri, and postmenopausal. Like, the level of hormones that the doctors are saying that we should be at is freaking ridiculous. That's why a lot of the women who are in those menopausal stages are fucking crazy. I'm just gonna say it. Their
for
hormones
sure.
are
They
whacked.
lose their
And
shit.
I bet you if they got on some sort of estrogen and testosterone supplementation with a good hormonal doctor, they'll start feeling normal.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on women and men doing DHEA? What's your thoughts on that as far
I'm all
as
for it.
a
I'm
replacement?
personally
Yeah.
on DHEA. I'm on 10 milligrams daily.
Okay. You like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm also supplementing with pregnenolone.
Oh, okay.
I actually just saw this commercial with Holly Berry, and she takes testosterone. The actress Holly
Yeah.
Berry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and she swears by it. She said that she has
That's
energy, her
cool.
sex drives up, like she feels good,
Hmm.
like, and
Absolutely.
she's not growing hair and,
Yeah.
like whatever, so
Just doing the right dose.
yeah, yeah. But I think she's promoting like a natural test booster type thing. That's what it
Probably.
was,
No, I
but
think she is on bioidentical
was it? Oh, no
testosterone.
way.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's
I
cool.
don't
Yep.
know where I saw that, but I just remember
No,
seeing a
she went
Holly
on she
Berry.
went on a couple of podcasts and she was saying, especially one of the big popular Dr. Lyons, and Dr. Lyons talks about especially female hormone levels and then exercise and eating adequate amount of protein,
Yeah.
Mm,
actually strength training, because the frailty of women as they age, the
Oh, for
the
sure.
bone diseases and all of
mm.
that other
Yeah.
stuff. It's important to have that amount of protein and testosterone in your system, especially as a female. So I think a lot's going to be coming down the pipe soon with
Yeah.
health hormones and peptides.
Maha. Make America healthy
Yeah.
again.
We're gonna get shirts
Yeah.
out for
Yeah.
that.
Right. Seriously. RFK, man.
No, that's yeah, those are yeah, I don't know. I keep throwing things around, I'm just like, oh, like I'm on TRT. I've been on TRT for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And there's like times where I'm kind of like, man, I just kind of don't want to be on TRT. I
Yeah.
just would
Lazy.
rather not really lazy. I just would rather not
You're doing
be
jujitsu with
taking
a bunch
anything
of vegans,
anymore.
aren't you?
No, they're not
That's
vegans.
From
what
hugging
Thank
your
God.
leg
But
too much doing
no, no, no,
jujitsu.
no. Sometimes no, no, we're not doing that. because I'm just like, just, whatever. I'm just like, I gotta be on this shit. But then, and then, there's also health reasons too, right? Because I'm just like, well, I'm taking this external thing, injecting myself every week or whatever. I'm just like, do I want to be doing that? But then, but I'm not, but I'm also very aware of, yeah, how unhealthy it is for me to just be like, oh, I'm just going to get off and try to get my normal levels back up.
Good
And,
luck.
Yeah.
and I'm running, here I am at a 150, running around,
Yeah.
losing my
Dude,
mind,
honestly, when I took that test and I got those results, I mean,
Yeah.
leading up to the test and even after the test,
Yeah.
and I wasn't even taking a natural test booster because I just wanted to see where it was at. You know what I mean? And yeah, I felt sad. I felt depressed. I felt lack of energy. I felt
Right.
like my body was softening up. I was all in my head about things. You
Yeah.
know what I
You're not
mean?
motivated.
Yeah.
As
So
far as
I can
taking
honestly
natural
say,
test booster as well too, a lot of people don't understand some of the over the counter stuff. You get really bad sides, with the spike of testosterone. You get the bad adverse reaction from the estrogenic effects as well
yeah,
too. So you were open about having your gyno surgery done,
yeah,
so
for
you
sure.
wouldn't know whether or not you're getting
Yeah,
those
no, that's the
effects.
thing is like, dude, when I was
Right.
on like fucking heavy cycles, like, and I was taking all this trend, and like, I would be on like, I don't even want to say a shitload of trend, and then somebody would take like 200 trend a week and get gyno, and they're like
Yeah.
lactating, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my
Oh
God, like,
shit.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen guys win shows with gyno taking low amounts of stuff and I was taking high amounts of stuff and like they're lactating, but it's like they still want to show, you know what I mean? But I'm like, man, but they
Damn.
had gyno and they just told me like a week ago, like this ooze was coming out of their nipple, but then they won the show
They're
with
like-
gyno. Maybe they just look that good, but to me, like, I don't know
so
if you even have gyno, like you shouldn't win the show. Like, you know what I mean? Unless the guy in second is just so shitty compared to you. But I mean, to me, that's just like a red flag. You know what I mean? This guy didn't do that part of the prep. He didn't
mm,
control his hormones. He didn't get
Mm-hmm.
the Clomid. He didn't do the whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I think like
yeah, brother.
yeah. Luckily, I got that gyno surgery, and I would suggest it if you're going to be a pro bodybuilder and you get gyno still. And you don't have that under control, get the surgery, man. Because I mean, you're already going all in, right? You might as well just get the surgery so you can take all the stuff and not have to worry about like having puffy nipples on stage because that looks retarded. You know what I mean?
And,
Yeah.
and breast milk. Yeah.
Yeah, breast milk. Oh my God. Yeah. And it's not even breast milk.
I know.
It's like a ooze, they said, like a grayish ooze.
Ooh,
Yeah, and you're like, oh fuck,
it's like a larva.
I know, right? It's
Ooh.
like your
That
shirt
word.
rubs against it, it's all sore. It's like, oh my God.
Oh man, I never had issues with that
I know.
ever,
Yeah.
ever. I'm
You're one
lucky.
of the lucky few that didn't get
Never
pimples or
did.
gyno.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
never.
Mark just got
When
roid
I well, when
rage.
I did run,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah, that well, a little bit.
no.
When I did, when I did, when I did run trend, that was the only time. Sometimes that we get a little bit of swelling,
Yeah.
a little bit, only from like trend though.
Yeah. Trent is
So
the one that like
well,
probably got
because
the gyno real quick.
it's that progesterone side
Yeah.
effect
Yeah.
from it.
That's why they were saying there was a thing. I've been telling you, there's a thing on Instagram that was going around. The question was, does trend make you gay? So go.
Oh, there was. I think
I
somebody.
heard
Yeah, why
somebody
did I
say
hear
that.
that?
Yeah, I've heard it somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, because of the what it does to you,
to your body. I
and then you
Yeah.
see.
start thinking this crazy stuff. I don't
It's
know.
crazy though,
You
Uh,
because
guys
like,
can answer that.
because when I first
you're
started
like you
taking
guys.
Tren, like I feel like I got super horny. You know what I mean? It was like one of
Trend.
those. It made
Yeah, it'll
my
do
sex
that.
drive
Right.
really high on Tren
Initially,
initially,
yes.
but the more I took it, it just
It
was regular.
shifts. Yeah, it shifts. I think
It
the
goes back
first three
down.
weeks or something is
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know if you ever tried taking mint before.
Yeah,
No.
I have.
Yes.
Mint makes you
Yes.
kind of like a little bit emotional and gushy, huh?
Well,
And it
mint.
aromatizes a lot too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mint is similar to like trend, right? As
Yes.
far as the
Yeah.
effects.
And it makes you a little bit more like want to
Well, one of my buddies who did mint, he like worst anxiety I've ever seen.
anxiety.
Oh, so bad. He was like he had to get off of it. It was really
Wow.
bad. I was
Coming
like, "What's
off's
going
rough
on with
too.
you?"
Coming
Dr.
off's
Tony
rough
Huge.
too.
Yeah, no, he got major anxiety. And then like what he said, he was on it for a little while. He didn't really know at first, right? Because he was running all this stuff. And he figured it out, got off. And then crazy depression after when he got off. Super depressive,
Yeah,
like really bad. Like I was
yeah,
like, "Whoa, what's up, man?" It
Dark
was like
places, huh?
it was
yeah.
bad, like life-changing kind of shit. Like he's like, I need a new career. I need to change my life. Like I'm not happy. Like it was like all kinds of emotions coming out. And I was like, whoa, dude, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then from doing meth, it was like weird. I was
You know,
like,
it's
wow, I never
crazy.
seen
Like
that.
one thing that I utilized during all of my preps. I mean, I'm not even gonna like mention names, but I know a lot of people. I mean, we used to smoke before we go lift, but
Used to.
marijuana, I feel like I don't smoke anymore. No, no, no. But yeah, I feel like utilizing. I mean, I know there's like estrogen and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like to me that was natural. It didn't affect me that much as far as like I mean, if you don't smoke, it's obviously going to make you not want to train or do anything
Mhm.
like that. You might just be glued to the couch, but that helped me with the depression and the sadness and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? When I was bodybuilding, when I would come off, especially like smoking a lot of weed. And like, I mean, that doesn't sound good either. You know what I mean? But like, it would help mitigate that a little bit for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be able to laugh and kind of watch a movie or something.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
there's no and I know people who use I know alcoholics that are like that. No, I'm just
Yeah,
saying
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
that
yeah.
when
Yeah.
they don't have
Yeah.
alcohol, they don't know how to act and
Yeah.
they're complete assholes and
For sure.
they cannot go out in the world. And
Yeah.
then they have drinks
They have
and all of a
anxiety.
sudden
They're
they're
Social
happy,
social.
they're good, they're
butterflies.
social,
Yeah,
everything's
for
great, their
sure.
life is good.
Yeah.
And you're like, weird. And they just
Yeah.
function. They
Yeah.
function like that. They have
They need
throughout the day.
therapy. They need help.
Well,
Yeah.
it goes deeper than that, right? But
Yep.
Yeah. Because I mean,
and there's people who do that. They use
yeah.
weed. Some people use weed.
Yeah.
Some people use, alcohol. Some
Psilocybin.
people use psilocybin.
You said
Whatever it
alcohol and
is.
pointed at me.
No,
I've been
I
drinking
was
since
pointing out to the
No,
camera.
what he
People
was doing
use
was
No, I was
pointing
pointing to
to
the
alcohol.
the empty
camera.
space. He was pointing to
No,
the
he
empty
doesn't even
space.
drink.
Alcohol,
I don't even
Jet doesn't even
smoke.
psilocybin.
drink. Jet doesn't even drink. No, no, I was pointing to the camera. No, let's talk about Jet.
No, he was pointing
No,
to
no,
the
no.
empty space within.
There's
Yeah.
yeah, but there's a few people that I know that that have drinking problems that are I'd say
Yeah.
alcoholics maybe,
And that's the
and
one thing that I did like about marijuana too when I was bodybuilding is that smoking weed is 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 fat, 0 carbs. You know what I mean? Like when you drink,
yeah.
Unless you get the
there's
munchies, then you're
yeah,
fucked.
then you're fucked. I
I don't
mean,
know.
fuck.
I'm not a fan of
Yeah.
it. I
But
don't
then
know,
like but when
but
you drink, like I mean I mean that kind of what doesn't it put your body into like a catabolic state when you start drinking alcohol? Like I mean,
If you drink
well,
enough,
I think
yeah.
there's
yeah.
a lot more
Not like one
probably
shot before you go
damage.
on
You
stage type
do
shit, but
cause a lot
like
more damage with alcohol, I would
yeah.
think, but marijuana, I
That's why
mean,
like
alcohol a little
bodybuilders,
whatever.
it's kind of
No,
weird. Like none of them drink,
I see a
but some
lot
of
of
them
them
do.
smoking
But a
weed
lot of them like
they
smoke
do.
weed or do cocaine and
or cocaine
ecstasy.
and
Oh,
ecstasy. Yeah,
well,
And
that
yeah,
yeah,
and you're like, like, because I
that'll
heard,
cause.
I don't know if it's like for real, but I've heard Urs and Chris Bumstead have a conversation recently because I, watched both their YouTube pages. And Urs was going to like raves, like he'd be at like the rave behind the DJ booth as like one of the guests and stuff. And C-Bum was like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, and he's like, come on, man, we need to take the E-bombs, C-Bum. And like, like I was like, dude, Urs, this guy is
he gets
rolling on
down.
ecstasy, man. And he's like
Oh,
top 3 in the world, right? I mean, in classic physique. I was like, so
hey,
I feel like bodybuilders, like, yeah, you can't drink and bodybuild. Like I don't know anybody who's a really awesome bodybuilder and drinks a lot. But I do know people who are really fucking in shape and smoke weed every day. You know what I mean? Not saying that I'm condoning that and that it's going to help you or anything like that. But I feel like there's certain like things you can do while you're
mm,
bodybuilding and other
yeah.
things you can't really and still get away with it,
Like intra workout
And
gummies.
exactly.
Intro workout
Yeah, right.
cocaine, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I'm I'm freaking tired. You're like John's like, hey, check this
The
out,
key
bro, right
comes
here.
out.
Pop, pop, here, go.
Yeah, right.
Get that set. Let's go, boy. Come
I
on.
know, right? That was probably like Mike. That was Mike Menser.
Oh, I got one more hour in me now. We're good. What is this hour? What third hour? Let's go, baby.
I
Come on.
guarantee you, in the '80s, that was going on in some gyms.
Yeah.
You know what? You're probably right.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't
You're
put it
probably right
past
because
it.
like I had the
Yeah.
story of the show that I was at
Yeah.
that I competed at in 1988, and the
Yeah.
guy literally did a line in front of me in the men's room in the bathroom. He was doing the show. He was in the open. I was a
Yeah.
novice, and I was like, oh, and he just like right there in front of me, and I was like, oh, and that guy won the show. He won
That's
the
That's
open.
what you got to do.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. At the Sean Ray, I'm not gonna mention names, but he did men's physique, and dude, I swear, it was backstage. We were pumping up at the Sean Ray, the one that was at the Shell during COVID, and I seen the same thing.
He did a
And
line.
he offered it to everybody in the room.
Oh,
And I was like,
oh,
and
wow.
everybody's
Oh,
looking at
you're
him like,
generous.
whoa.
And what did he win?
He
Or did he do
actually,
well?
that was the one where Tyler beat me. I'm not gonna. We can just think back, okay? But I think Tyler won. This certain somebody who was an Asian gentleman came in second, and I came in third for our height class. It was
Mm.
us three battling it out. And it's like he doesn't really do men's physique anymore. I think he kind of went off onto like a little party binge, you know.
Mm.
But super cool guy. But yeah, he was doing that, and he actually came in second in the division, you know, for like the over not the overall, but our height class.
Wow.
So I
No,
mean,
I think he won. Tyler made second, and he
oh,
won overall.
You know who he's
that's
talking about?
Yes.
right.
Oh.
You know who I'm talking
Yes,
about.
absolutely.
That was the cocaine guy
Hey,
backstage. And you know who
so
saw
that's
it?
2 overall
Remember?
winners right there.
Remember what was the
He's a
girl?
party boy.
The kind of like black girl, pretty kind of Asian black that would come in here with a white boyfriend in the military. Remember? She was Joy, is that her name?
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Her and her boyfriend did the same show.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend was right there next to me.
And he was like,
And he
"Whoa."
was like, "Whoa, like what?" He was like, "I'm about to take Halo. If anybody wants a little Halo, like like
Whoa.
yeah." But I was like,
Interesting.
"Yeah."
Okay.
I
All
think he
right.
won. That's
He
right.
over
Tyler
he
So I
won.
won.
guess it's still
Tyler
going.
made second place
Yeah,
to
I think
him.
Tyler would have won if his posing was better. But I feel like
We said that.
Tyler's physique in that show, like he was way more diced than the other dude.
I'll tell
You
you
know what I
this
mean?
much though, Tyler, for every show, he's 100% natural.
Natural,
He is
dude.
100% legitimately natural. Not
Crazy.
even no ephedra, no nothing. Just straight,
It's genetics,
straight
That's
man.
clean.
crazy. That's
Did
crazy.
he
Seriously.
did he wrestle or football or what did he
He
do?
played sports
He
in school,
wrestled.
but
Yeah, 'cause I
Tyler
mean,
definitely 100% natural.
yeah, I
Like
totally believe it
for
too.
people to be
Yeah.
like, oh, he ain't natural, fuck, test
No.
him.
Yeah.
Please go drug test him.
Yeah. The most he did was salt before he went on
Hmm.
stage.
And every single show, I mean, he's been fortunate where he's been placing top 2.
Yeah, no, he looks amazing, dude. Like, especially like, when he diets down, but he's got wheels. He's just one of those dudes who are like, he's genetically
Genetic
gifted.
freak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if he really I mean, he goes hard and lifts hard, but if
Yep.
he really went all out in
Yep.
bodybuilding and then started taking stuff on top of that, like his baseline is already so
Oh,
good
yeah. He
where he would
could.
just go
Yeah.
through the roof. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
For
Like,
sure.
so, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
He's got great genetics.
So Tyler looking the way that he looked naturally in comparison to the guy who won overall, and I heard stories about the overall winner saying, "Fuck yeah, I just want to get huge," and the copious amounts of things to get huge he was on, like,
Oh yeah, he was taking all kind of
and
shit too.
Tyler's giving you hard rubs.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Dude, I was on all kind of shit and Tyler gave me rubs. I was like,
Well,
bro,
Tyler
like,
beat you.
yeah, Tyler beat me. Yeah. No. Yeah.
There you
Man, I
go.
thought
How
Tyler
you gonna
won.
let a natty beat you?
I know. Hey, man.
Uh,
Dude, my genetics are trash. Like my parents are both obese and diabetic.
So that says a lot. I mean, yes, Tyler, he is a genetic freak. He did it natural. He does all of his shows natural. He's still natural. He's getting ready for the
his
OCB
wife's
show.
natural.
His wife is natural. His wife
Mm.
is a natural pro for the
That's right.
INBA,
She's pro.
whatever their federation, natural federation
I think
is.
it's INBA.
Um, yeah. So being that said, you can do a lot. You can get far. You
Yes.
can become very competitive doing it naturally. For some of you guys, you don't need intra workout carbs,
Yeah, right.
especially if you still got fat to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want to start talking about return on investment and start feeling good. Go get yourself a 6-pack. For the women, get caked up. Like get that booty, glutes growing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the
For
thing now
sure.
for women to have
Definitely.
definitely be caked up.
Yeah, I think like the athletic look for females is definitely in now because when I was in high school, everybody wanted to look like a Victoria's
Skinny
Secret
Victoria's
model,
Secret.
you
And I'm
know?
I'm gonna say
Mhm.
from a judges and a athletes and a pro whatever, whoever am I, as far as the women's division, I think the women's they're still lacking in a lot of the glute development, especially for the wellness division here in
Oh,
Hawaii.
for sure.
So yeah, girls, get caked up.
Honestly, the only girl that I've seen in the wellness division down here that looked kind of like, oh shit, that's kind of crazy was Chablis.
Shipley,
Mm.
That was
hands
the only
down,
one. Yeah,
Shipley.
Chablis, like Adonis's wife, like her glutes and like the way she looked on stage. I remember Jody's client came in second right behind her at the Sean Ray.
Yeah, she looked
And she,
very well as well
yeah,
too.
but she like but that girl too, that's good genetics because
Yeah.
she decided to do the show like I think fucking 7 weeks out and just
Mhm.
prepped for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So she was already in a decent place and came in second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like the wellness division down here, it's definitely I don't know if they're not training as hard enough or like maybe they just need more time to develop, but
Mhm.
like yeah, a lot of them don't have that horse booty. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I just saw
Horse booty is a great way to describe it because there's a big difference between having glutes and ass.
yeah.
And a lot of you women are confusing the two. Stop it,
Like
please.
Francielle Matos, she just posted a posing video. I think she's off season, but she's still in really good shape. She just posted a video of herself on her Instagram just the other day. You can go and look at it. But she looks insane. Like her lower half looks crazy. And it's like I feel like, yeah, there's nothing like that in Hawaii.
Mm-mm.
Adonis's wife, Shibley, closest thing. You know
When
what I
she
mean?
came on stage at
Yeah.
that one Sean Ray show, what was it, two shows ago?
Yeah. It was lights out,
It was
man.
lights out. She came on,
Yeah.
I was like, holy
Yeah. And her posing was really
shit.
good and
Her
she worked
posing
on
was
it.
on
Yeah.
point.
And it's
Yeah.
crazy because I
Killed it.
documented it here because I did, posing
Yep.
for the IHF page. I'd
Yep.
video her and like Adonis would be right there. And like I saw the progression of it and like saw it tighten. And I was like, holy moly. Like, and then she hit the stage and I was like, dude, nobody looks even remotely
She was
close.
lights out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good one, guys.
Yes.
And yep, we'll be back next week for more fun. Thanks for joining us on Paradise Pump, and don't forget, you guys, leave comments. We like to interact.
And thanks to all, we got a lot of followers this last 2 or 3 days. So thanks to all the guys following us on TikTok and Instagram. It's starting to grow. We appreciate it.
Let's get it. Let's get into double digits, guys.
Trickle down on that
Let's
trend.
get into freaking
Yeah,
teens.
right.
Come on, guys. Now.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We're gonna keep it going. We got some new things coming up too. We're gonna redesign the set, so be on the lookout for that.
No more brown
So,
cover.
no more round. Well, no more. Not even this table. We're doing a whole bunch of different stuff. So
All right,
For 1
cool.
month, Mark's not going to buy a new machine and he's going to buy a couch.
that's right. Something. But all right, we'll see you guys next time, and aloha.